Hello, I'm going to show you 5 strange books for strange people. I'm a really big fan of like the grotesque or the abject in novels, especially books with female narrators who are possibly struggling with different things or they have quite dark thoughts and so on. But I see a lot of the same books recommended on BookTube and BookTok, mainly on BookTok, in this genre, so I thought I'd just bring some new books to the table. Some of them are quite different, but I love them and they're very dear to my heart, so I will get started. Quite includes something by Natasha Moshfegh. She is the queen of this genre and she's been doing really well recently. This book, Eileen, I've only read a few of her books, but this one's definitely my favourite. I preferred this over My Year of Rest and Relaxation. That's still a good book, but I thought this one was really good. It follows a woman called Eileen and she's caring for her abusive alcoholic father in a very messy, disgusting house. And she's also working in a prison and she has quite obsessive thoughts, quite strange thoughts, and she really wants to escape this town that she's living in called, I think, is it Exville? She ends up meeting a woman who is like the picture of femininity. She seems really perfect, but you can kind of sense from the offset that something's not quite right with this woman and something's gonna go wrong, and that follows on the novel. Really good one, great twist, really good just descriptions of like disgusting bodily processes and just, yeah, obsession and so on. But a good starting point, I'd say, for that kind of genre. Next book, if you want something a lot more hardcore, this is Brainworms by Alison Romfet. I saw this in the bookshop a couple of years ago. I didn't pick it up because I thought, I don't know what I thought, I wasn't really drawn to it. I never realised that this book is full-on body horror. It is insane. I only read it because one of my colleagues at the bookshop I used to work at said it was really good. I don't necessarily know if I like this book. I just know that if you enjoy weird books, this is definitely one to read. I raced through this. I think it's just under 300 pages, so it's not long, but I don't think I've ever read a book so fast. It's definitely intended for more mature audiences, definitely not one if you're younger. There's just trying to find a way to describe this novel without probably getting banned from YouTube. I don't think I'm going to say much about this, to be honest. There are a lot of sexual themes, and it's very disgusting. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't think I can say much more on here. But yeah, just trust me, if you like strange shit, that's one for you. I've not heard this spoken about anywhere. This is The New Seoul Park Jelly Massacre by Cho Yoon. I'm not sure if I said her name right, but this is like nothing I've really read before. I read this in a day. It's 200 pages, but I finished it really fast. And I'm saying that because like I'm not too fast at reading books, or I can't sit there for too long and like devour a whole book. I do find that difficult sometimes because I get quite drained, but if it's a really good one then I literally just sit there and I can't stop. But this book is about a young girl. Well, it's actually told from lots of different perspectives, but it begins from the perspective of a young girl. And she's gone to this theme park in Seoul, and she gets approached by this man who offers her some jelly, and anybody who consumes the jelly, something bad happens to them. I'm not going to over-explain, but this book is really good for like surrealism. I think it's translated from Korean, but I think the translation is really good. Probably one of the best that I've read. And I've read a lot of like Japanese fiction and Korean fiction, and this one's really good for its translation. Very good descriptions of sticky, sickly, jelly-like substances, and if you like a really good like descriptive book, this one's definitely up there. Just gonna say as well that I think that this book, what it does well is capture the very like uncanny feeling, quite an eerie, almost as if you're in like a liminal space. I think that's what I enjoyed most about the book, was just that like it really put this strange feeling in me, and I think like the setting, a theme park, is really good for that. I personally, I've always found theme parks so creepy and weird, and it just doesn't quite feel like time passes normally in there, and I think this book has like played on that really, really well. I just wish I like thought of this idea myself before reading it. It's just so good. Next is Paradise Rot by Jenny Val. This is one of my favourite books ever. It's only about 150 pages, really quick read. It is a Norwegian novel. This has been translated as well. And it follows the progression of a relationship between two women. They're living together in an abandoned like brewery. And it's got really like thin walls, and there's not much privacy between the two of them at all. There's like rotting fruit everywhere, and the protagonist, she kind of uncovers these truths about the woman that she's living with. It's a good exploration of queer relationships in a really interesting way. I think the writing itself is really beautiful in this book. I think out of all the books I've mentioned so far, this is my favourite writing wise. I think Val's way with words is just really beautiful, and even when she's describing like these really grotesque, strange, like there's a lot about piss kinks as well in this one, which I wasn't expecting when I started reading it. But she just gets that description really good and sets the scene super well, and I love the setting of this one too. This one I'd say is my favourite out of all the bunch, and I think this cover is just so cool. I really need to read her other book, Girls Against God. That's supposed to also be quite weird fiction, so maybe I'll mention that in another video. And then last but not least, and this one is the most recently published, is The Book of X by Sarah Rose Etter. She's only published 2 books, I believe. Another one is Ripe. I've also read that. This one I preferred. I think I preferred the writing in this one. The other one's also really good. I just think this one is just super interesting. Not loads happens in this novel, and it's definitely one that you need to, after you read it, need to kind of sit down and think, what the hell did I just read, and kind of try and unpick it a little bit. But it follows a girl called Cassie, and her and her mother, this is explained on the first page, both have a knot in their stomach, or like their stomach is a knot. It's kind of difficult to actually envision because it's not a real thing that happens, and it's something that Etta's made up, but it's I definitely need to probably think a bit more about what that actually conveys, and if it's a metaphor for something, it definitely will be. But even without quite understanding that, this book is great. The strange aspect of it is that she lives on this farm of sorts, and her father and her brother work at a meat quarry that they discovered, and it's literally has meat growing on the walls, and in this place that they live they can dig up meat from the ground, and it's just so strange. And she has visions throughout the novel as well, and they're quite intense, quite visceral, and her writing is insanely good, and like I said, in this novel it's just even better than the last, and I'm definitely gonna keep an eye out on her and anything that she releases. I definitely want to read. But yeah, it's definitely one where not loads is explained. There's definitely a lot that goes unsaid, or a lot that's quite ambiguous, but I like it for that, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough. So that's all of the novels. I've definitely got a lot more that I've read of weird fiction. I'm like full of recommendations for that, so I'll probably make another video soon, or if this one is enjoyed at all. But I really hope you enjoy your reading. If you do read any of those, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. But yeah.